morning. We are live. So great to see you this morning again, Jennifer.
Good morning, Delinda. It is a wonderful day here in Kansas City. What's the weather like there out in Vegas?
Oh gosh, it's just so awful. The sun is out. It's a beautiful day. That's one thing. It's hard here to report on the weather because pretty much every day is a great day, right?
That's
So,
it. That's it. We have some heat
although,
moving in. We've got the sun, so it's been nice. It's been a nice week so far.
oh, good, good. Just not have some rain is probably really
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and
Yes.
we did get up to 109 yesterday. That was a little hot.
That's hot. That's hot.
So, but you don't sweat.
Mm.
That's the difference is when the air is so dry, and that's how people can get. I'm not sure exactly that they say get dehydrated so easily because when your body sweats, it just immediately evaporates. So you don't have that muggy, wet feeling like you get in Kansas City. So,
Okay.
that kind of difference between the dry heat and the wet heat. So
Right.
all right, I'm going to do a little hello in the box, and I think I'm going to also I'm going to copy this little link. So those of you who might be new joining us, this link, click on that link, and they'll let us see your comments. Here's the link to give us your comments.
Yep. And I see it looks like Karen Reyes has joined us. Good morning, Karen.
All right, now I don't see her yet. Oh, there she is. Yay, Karen, you're first on board today. I love it. So there we go. Okay, so that way I think you guys have that link. So as you see, we can see Karen's name, and that's because at some point or another, quite a while back, she clicked that link, and it just gives it actually Facebook, you're giving Facebook permission to show your name on our platform. Is kind of what's happening here. So anyway, so we'll just do a little chit chat catch up. So how was your weekend? Anything exciting or anything happening?
We actually went shopping for a bed. that is its own weird excitement. I've read up on more about beds and how to buy a bed and a mattress than I ever care to know. So hopefully I don't have to do it again for another 10 years. So
actually on the mattress, not the
yeah,
bed,
we bought an actual mattress and platform and all of that. So
yep. Did you find it?
We did. We went to actually out to Nebraska Furniture Mart here in Kansas City, and we had to laugh because we joked every salesman and salesperson was in that department because every 2 minutes, can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you? And they don't get commission. They don't work on that. But what we found, because we bought a lot of things out there and we talked about it, is buying a bed is an intimate experience. It's where you sleep. And so they pop in and it's like, are you ready to talk yet? Nope, you're not. Okay. And they leave and you never see the same person. I bet we were approached by 20 people. And
no,
but it wasn't in a way that was hounding, but it actually became humorous. But what we noticed is it was also a matter of who you felt comfortable saying, I'm ready to ask questions. Because there were a few people that came up. I was like, no, we're good. I didn't even engage with them. And then finally we had this one person, she came up and I said, do you have a magic wand? She said, I do. And then I was able to express my concerns, my husband's, we had a conversation and it was good. But that's one thing I will say just for the people out there that if you're in business, don't give up and go for what they're doing is they're doing different approaches. Each person has a different personality, a different thing, and it's a matter of finding the right fit. And we found the lady that was able to help us, give us peace and comfort in what we were wanting and needing, and gave us her expert opinion. And we had a bed delivered on Sunday, which I still
wow.
So, awesome. So that's one thing. That's my piece of advice I took away from it is, it wasn't hounding. It was just, there was a constant ask, but they know when you're buying that's what you need because they don't do that in the other departments. That's the first time we've ever encountered that. So this is something they have figured out. So, and it works. So
nice. And that was at Nebraska Furniture Mart?
It was at Nebraska Furniture Mart. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for those that don't know, that's it's been in Kansas City a long time, but it originated up in Omaha, Nebraska, and I
It
lived
did.
up there in Omaha and Bellevue. And there it was like the store. And before they opened one in Kansas City, that was when Bill and I were first married. We actually drove up to Omaha
Mhm.
to get some furniture, and they just delivered it right there. I mean, they've been really great at, they know how to treat the customers. At least
They
we've had
do.
good experiences.
Yeah. And again, and a lot of times we'll just go in there and just window shop. I mean, if you're at all in the mood to even look and see something different, it's just a great place to go and hang out. So
Yeah. So
sadly,
a little kudos out there to Nebraska Furniture Mart this morning.
that's it. That's it. So that's what we did this weekend. That was our excitement.
All right. Well, that's a good thing. We are still in the process. Okay. So as I told y'all, we've moved a few times in our life here. So 17 to be exact. And we're thinking about it again, whether it's on a full-time basis or a part-time basis or whatever. But when you start through that process, so we've been, I guess, in essence, doing spring cleaning in the event we do decide to put the house on the market, because everything has to be streamlined. You don't want a bunch of extra stuff around. And so
Mhm.
we've now done, so I think, of course, now the garages, we can't get the car in the garage because now all you've really done is shifted everything out of
Right.
the inside of the house out to the garage. And I'm now down to my closet. We've done Bill's closet. I've done every drawer, every cabinet, the pantry, reorganized where I need to, got rid of what I could. And this is just the first layer, because depending on where we decide what we're doing, it may be, when it comes to the packing, it'll be a different thing. Because right now, we've combined, we've had like two households a lot. If you recall, when Bill was working in Kansas City, he had the apartment there, so we had our house here. And when we were in Kansas City living full time, we first then had my dad's condo here, and then got a house. So we've kind of, so we have supplied two households. So
Mhm.
I don't want to get rid of it yet, just in case we do that again. I don't want to have to go rebuy stuff. Oh
Yep.
my gosh, it's crazy. But my closet is the last place, and that's going to be a several day thing, because I've got stacks for Dress for Success, and then we've got stuff that goes to Goodwill, that I really want to do a good cleansing. My sister's great. This is not our topic for the morning, but it's just what I'm talking about. So sorry. But she's really great. If she hasn't worn something in a year, Jennifer, well, I lost you. Are you there? I can hear you, but I don't see you. Well, I'm glad I can hear you. Hey, okay. Karen and Grace, could you there, okay, she's back. Did she disappear on you too? I always wonder what's happening on the other, when what you can see. You're back.
I'm back.
Crazy.
That was weird.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, getting the stuff for Dress for Success, and that is such a great nonprofit. What they do, and I don't know. It changed a lot during pandemic. They didn't take stuff, but they're now back and they're doing it 2 days a week. You have to make an appointment, but we took some stuff about a month ago, and I didn't know the rules, but everything has to be clean, of course, but everything on a hanger. So you have to have everything hanging and everything separated when you get there, and then you put it in the stuff. It's like, okay, but I had taken everything off of the hangers, not thinking, and my hangers I didn't want to give away anyway. So Bill went to Walmart to get wire hangers because we just didn't have any regular plain old giveaway kind of hangers. So anyway, if you're doing your spring cleaning and you have things that could help women who've been in many cases abused, all kinds of, they come from different shelters, different things, that are now trying to get back out into the workforce. And this is one that we've supported both in Kansas City and our Fun Fearless Female, in both cities. So as you clean things out, don't take them off the hangers, or switch them to a hanger you want to give away, one of those wire hangers, and donate those things to Dress for Success, because they really do a great job for people.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, yes. Grace said, yes, you were gone with them too, and then now you're back. Okay, good. All right. So Jennifer,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
you posted a story yesterday, and it was so touching. And I'd like you to share that story and just kind of how it made you feel and stuff. And then um, I posted this morning, so some of y'all may not have seen it yet. We're going to talk about the scripture, and it's actually in Luke 19. The actual verse is 26, but there's a story with that of where, when Jesus is telling the story. And basically, how I always heard it growing up was, to whom much is given, much is required. It's like, okay, so really, what does that mean? And I'll tell you, in growing up, I always thought it had to do with money. I mean, for some reason, it was just always in my mind. If you have a lot of money, you should share it, basically, much as required. So if you have a lot, you should give a lot, that kind of thing. So I want you to hear Jennifer's story, and then we're going to kind of talk about how that relates to this scripture and maybe some other thoughts. So go for it, Jen.
Okay, so this actually happened to me 9 years ago here in Kansas City, out in Independence. I had a job where I was traveling and went store to store and different tasks like that. And I was walking up to a Target in Independence, and this elderly lady was there who was very confused. And she just was very lost. And it would have been very easy for me to keep on walking, go on in. I was on the clock. I had a job to do. But I stopped and I asked her if I could help her. And she said she couldn't remember where she parked. And I thought, oh, this will be easy. So I just start walking with her, and we're looking for her car. And as we're walking and talking, I'm realizing she is very confused and it should probably not be driving. And so as I'm processing and listening to her talk and what have you, we're getting closer and closer. We finally find her car, and it just weighs on my heart. I cannot let her get in that car and drive. She couldn't tell me exactly where she lived, as in not her address, but I only live a mile away. Wait, no, I think it's more like 10 or 14 miles. We went to just all these extremes that she was very confused. So in the moment, I just said, how about I drive you home? And without hesitation, she handed me her car keys, which also gives some warning signs. Someone could have very easily taken advantage of her. So I took her car keys, asked her to get in the passenger seat, and I went and put my stuff in my car, because I didn't want my computer and such in her car. And I called the police, and I just asked for an officer to come and help me assess the situation. I was very, very concerned. So I sit in the driver's seat and I start stalling. I'm like, oh gosh, tell me about this. And I'm trying to come up with any reason, because I don't want to be accused of kidnapping her or stealing her car or anything. If I drove away, I didn't know, even if I drove around the parking lot, if I could get in trouble. And I didn't want that, but I needed her to stay safe until the officer got there. And in the course of our conversation, she tells me about her children and her grandchildren, her church family. She was very active in her church as a young person. But then also told me about the chairs that attack her at night and the things in her house that are dangerous, and which made me very sad. But also sitting that close to her, she had not bathed in weeks, if not months. Now, this was would have been June 5th, June 6th. That was a month after Mother's Day. Her children and grandchildren had not visited her. Her family has not seen her. Her neighbors have not touched base with her. And that made me very sad. So we went through, and I just kept stalling and stalling. I was doing anything I could come up with to not drive away yet. Finally, the officer comes, and when she sees him, she went from being this nice lady that I was speaking with to, on a dime, her purse was striking me in the face, on the chest. She was very angry. But I understood why. She said, you lied to me. You tricked me. And then she got scared. And she's right. I lied to her. I did not tell her I had called a police officer. And when she took a deep breath, she suddenly started crying, because I think in her heart, she knew she needed help. And I got out of the car. I handed the keys to the officer, told him what she had shared with me. And I walked into the store. I called my boss. I told him I had already taken an extra 30 minutes on a lunch break that I needed him to adjust a timesheet for, and that I would be taking another 30 minutes because I sat and cried. I sat in the Target bathroom and just cried because it broke my heart that this woman, again, was very active. From what she shared with me, I believe that was all very truthful, and that she did not know, it did not have anyone who reached out to her. So anyone that's ever heard me say, and again, anybody who's been watching these for any amount of time will know, I always say, reach out to someone you haven't heard from in a while. It is because of Susan. Her name was Susan. That's the only piece of information I ever got from her. She weighs on my heart every day. And I think about her a lot because I didn't get to find any closure on it of what happened with her. But again, it makes me sad that there were just people in her life for all those years. And everyone else just said, oh, surely the neighbor's checking on her. Surely someone else is checking on her. She must have moved away. Nobody ever followed up. And that just makes me very sad to know that there are tons of people out there. And all it takes is a little bit of compassion and a little bit of time, because it was 30 minutes of my day. And I think I believe in that moment, I saved her, and I saved her from hurting herself. And I saved potentially someone else from getting hurt out on the highway if she had gone out there and gotten confused. And that's not me patting myself on the back. That's me acknowledging I did a good thing and I think helped her. But that woman has impacted my life. I mean, if you go back through my Facebook feed about once a month, somehow I will work it. Hey, call a family member you haven't heard from in a while. I will mention that. And my mom will tell you, I'm like, hey, have you heard from Aunt and Uncle so-and-so? Have you, how's so-and-so doing? I'm asking her because there's people that are in her circle that it would be more that she would reach out. And I'm like, it's my way of encouraging people to continue to reach out. So that is the story I shared, and it's on my Facebook page. And I share it every year at this time because it pops up in my memories. And I'm so glad it does, because the day I wrote it was the day it happened. And what I put in there was very heartfelt.
Yeah. Wow. And you're right. I mean, the chances are, you really could have saved her life or someone else's, for her to be behind a wheel. So you don't know if the police drove her home or just took her home. You just kind of turned it over to the authorities. They're used to handling these kind of things. I think that was very wise of you. And you're right. I don't know that I would have stopped to think, you could have been accused of kidnapping or something like that if you had just gotten in her car. And then, of course, I don't know how you would have gotten back from wherever she lived.
Yeah, that was never my intent, was to ever drive her home. I wasn't going to put myself, but my thought was if I couldn't stall very much longer, I was going to at least have to start driving around the parking lot and go, oh gosh, I got to go get something else out of my car. Let me snake through. I was stalling. I was telling her about anybody I had ever met. I was coming up with anything I could throw at her just to distract her, to give that officer time. And when I called 911, I just said, this is a wellness check. This woman is very confused and I'm not comfortable letting her drive away. And they sent somebody, there was an officer there within, I would say 10 minutes. But still well,
that is great. And the thing is, I think you're so right. And yes, I've heard you talk about that all the time, about reach out to someone. It's kind of nice to know where that came from. It's like, okay, that really makes a lot of sense, because we don't know. And also to be aware of the things around you. How can God use you? God used you that way for that lady. You were his hands and his feet. You were there representing him. And I think, so I'm going to go back over to that scripture that I was talking about, which again was Luke 19:26, if I can read it here. Just have to turn my iPad back on so I can double check that I remember that. How we can reach out and make a difference. And when that scripture that says, and I tried to find the translation that actually says, to whom much is given, much is required, in those words, because that is how I have always heard it.
Well, and I think it's because John F. Kennedy actually used that. That was his interpretation of that scripture. That's in the speech that JFK gave. And that's because I was like you, I was like going, I've heard it this way also. And so I did a little research, and I think that was his secular way of bringing it forward. in one of his speeches.
Interesting. And that makes so much sense because I really did like Kennedy. Of course, that was when I was in junior high. That he was probably the first president I ever realized what is a president, that you pay attention to.
And very motivational. I mean, again, take politics out of a lot of things and just look at speeches and the things that are said. There's some great words out there.
Oh, yeah. In the NIV, it says, and to those who use well what they are given, even more will be given. I love that. To those who use well what they've given, even more will be given. But from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away. And I think that's something to, I've thought of this a lot through the years with my voice. I just always, that's been my heart, my joy of my heart is to sing. And I have to say, up until I'll be like, since I came to Vegas, or like the last 10 years, I haven't actually studied voice. But even after I went to college and I kept studying, I've had a vocal coach almost all my life because I felt this thing inside me that I needed to always be prepared because I felt like that was a gift. And since it was given to me, I needed to share it as much as I could. And if I didn't, not that I thought God was going to take it away, but it's actually one of those truths. If you don't use it, you lose it kind of thing. If you keep it up, it's like exercise of your body. So that's just one example. But I think when you're given such a gift of compassion that you are, and I don't know if yours is compassion and empathy. I'm not sure because those are a little different. But whatever that is, if that is a gift that you have, to use that when you have the opportunity, that's why you have it, and you're walking that out and helping to share with others to do the same thing. And so many of you, I know you have gifts. I've talked to so many women through these years who just will say, like, first of all, it breaks my heart to hear you say, well, I don't have any talents, because that is hogwash. Yes, you do. I am calling you to the carpet. And if you don't know what it is, then give me a call and we'll talk about it. And I'll help you see that inside yourself. Like I said, when I first heard that, I don't know why, but I've just always thought about it from a money standpoint. So if somebody has a lot of money, the rich people, for lack of, from my teenage brain, I guess, it always was, then they should share their wealth. But even more so, I think it's about the talents and the gifts that we're born with, that God's given us. And sometimes it's the ones we've developed as we've gone along. And then are we being available to use those gifts? Because if we don't, then what a waste. What a shame to not share those with the world. I have this sweet little friend. I think I've talked about her before. And if her husband Fred used to watch our shows, and more so than Nikki did. I don't know why, but anyway, they are now, I think Fred is 97 and Mickey is 92, and I love them. And she's like my soul sister. She's such a sweet lady. She gets every week, goes to the beauty salon to get her hair done, and she has her makeup on every day and her lipstick on. I mean, and that is how, many of us, but particularly the generation before us, very much were to take care of yourselves and all this. Well, they're now, they've suffered through some things, and they're in a assisted living place right now. We just saw them recently, and Fred, and there's a reason I'm saying this, so I just have to explain the story. So we were over visiting them, and Nikki and I were having a conversation, and because Fred is actually in bed. He is bed bound, but she isn't. She's in a wheelchair, and she can get out, and she can go down to the dining room for dinner or for a meal, but she hasn't. They've been there since January. And because she is Miss Socialite. I mean, she used to work for Hallmark. She wrote cards for Hallmark. She's like, has this great background of things that she's done. And I told her the other day, because I knew her hesitancy and she just didn't want to go by herself. So we went to the dining room together and had lunch, and I'm going to go back and we're going to do that again. But I told her it from true sincerity in my heart. I said, Mickey, your beautiful personality. She is this social butterfly, and she's so friendly and positive. And I said, do it for them, because they need what you have to offer. And she's, oh, and I said, Mickey, you know it's true. I said, look at what you've done your whole life. You make people feel better just being around you. So just go to lunch or to dinner or whichever, pick one, and just be there and make that difference to other people, because she really, that is really the truth. But because of the hard years she's had, and her husband being in bed, and she just hadn't wanted to venture out by herself, that their facility that they were in prior to this was a real active seniors place, and she played bridge every week, and she played bingo, and they had a movie theater, so she was active in all those things. She had friends. She was making friends. She could have been the Miss Congeniality of that place. So it's never too late. My point. Yeah. It's never too late to reach out, or to be aware, or to share whatever gifts you have, because you do have them. And if you're wavering and you're not sure about yourself right now, because I think the pandemic has done that. I think it's made because we haven't been out, we've been shut down. And if you're used to being out, and now it's kind of, you're hesitant to get back out again, pray about it, or reach out, like Jennifer's talking about. Reach out to someone around you that can give you that little lift, or that little encouragement that you need, or to remind you what it is about you that makes you so special. Because there is something about you. We're all different. We all have different fingerprints. Our DNA is all different. And so you have something that the world needs. God put you here for a reason, and he has a plan and a purpose. Jeremiah 29:11, if y'all recall. He has a plan and a purpose for you. And so share that. And, when it says, then I'm going to use John Kennedy's words. Then I didn't realize that's where it came from. I mean, that was his secular way, because it's so much easier to remember. Use well what you've given, because the world needs you, and you need the blessings. Because Jennifer, look what you did for that lady. You changed her life, but now 9 years later, she is still changing your life. That's audacious.
Yeah. And I do, I tear up. I think about her. She's in my prayers. Again, I don't know what has ever happened with her. But I do think about her a lot. She sits very, very much in my heart. And that day changed me. That day was a moment that I started reflecting on having my family being my number one importance. Not that they weren't important, because they were. It isn't that. It wasn't like this night and day change, but I started reprioritizing, because I never wanted to be that person that got the phone call and saying, oh gosh, something happened to your mom. Nobody's reached out to her for 3 weeks. No, that's not happening.
Right.
Although my mom and I, we joke, we probably talk a little too much, but I'm going to take it. I miss my family.
Better that way than the other, right?
Exactly. I'll take that check-in call every day. That's fine. But it's just important, because I've been in situations, we've all heard the news stories of someone passed away and were not found for a month later.
No, I know, it's heartbreaking.
That should never happen. And that's why I go to, all of us live in neighborhoods. We all live in an apartment building. Whatever your living situation is, there's that person that you used to always see out watering their flowers or whatever. When they suddenly disappear, just reach out. And I think the pandemic has made that worse, because I think people that were already on the cusp of falling into that crack that Susan had fallen into, I'm afraid that we have a lot of people who are there now that don't know what to do. They don't know how to get out of it. And we can reach in from the outside and say, hi. Again, it's not a lot. And that's what I say when you talk about the gifts. I gave her that day the gift of my ear to listen to her stories, my brain to have knowledge of who to call to get her help. But the biggest gift I gave her was 30 minutes of my day. Yeah. And that is what it took, was 30 minutes. And again, it's made such an impact. And in doing so, I have been more focused, I think, on people that are older, that are in that need of help. I had a customer of ours that we inherited. She recently passed away, but I am so glad that for the last 6 months of her life, she was in my life, that I was part of that last page. When they took her to the hospital, she called me and she said, can you come see me and say goodbye? Because I don't know if I'll see you again. She was 99 years old, and I grabbed my purse. I walked up the door, put up a sign, and I drove to that hospital and held her hand, and we laughed and we talked and carried on, and really thought she was actually going to make it out of the nursing home. And it turned out she didn't. I got a call from her daughter granddaughter a couple of weeks later. So, but I'm grateful. It's very sad, but I'm also grateful because, again, that woman also impacted me and made me realize, again, no one else was touching base with her. When we had that cold snap go through, she didn't have heat in her apartment. She didn't know who else to call. She called me as her insurance person because she didn't know who else to call. It's like, no, there has to be other people to call. So be that person for anybody out there. Just that's my mission. I think I need to come up with a real catchy phrase. Delinda has her really good one. I don't have a catchphrase for it yet, but that is my soapbox, and I will work it into every conversation I ever have with people.
I love it, man. You got me on that.
Like I said, I'm tearing up. There's a reason that once I knew what we were doing, I did not put on eye makeup, and there was a reason. So I knew it was going to be an emotional moment.
Yeah, that on the one side, it's so sad that she wouldn't have somebody. Yeah. But it's so beautiful that you were there. I mean, that's really amazing.
And that's the way I just look at it. My path was meant to cross theirs, and I'm okay with that. And so when I go to the grocery store and I see someone struggling, because I go to the ones where you have to bag your own groceries. I've seen ladies and men that are there using shopping bags because they charge you 7 cents for a shopping bag or whatever. They're using ones that have holes in them. I always have a couple of quarters in, and I'm like, I hand it to the cashier. I was like, give me 5 bags. And I'm like, let me help you bag this up. Let me help you. I can take 5 minutes of my day and just do a kind gesture. And I am constantly doing that. I will help somebody. I will push their cart to their car for them, whatever I can do, and make them feel comfortable and safe, and just maybe bring a little bit of happiness. And I just think that's what we all need to do. And I just think that with all the other craziness, if we just did that, makes you go to bed just feeling better about yourself and about the world.
Absolutely. It would change the world, Jennifer. Mm-hmm. I mean, it could really, and that's how the world can be changed is by being kind. And it didn't matter, all this other stuff. How about just basic kindness to other people? It doesn't matter how young or old, although it seems like very often it's the elderly that have more of those challenges, and that's where you're seeing your focus. But also, it doesn't matter male or female or what color or what ethnic group. It's like just human kindness and just caring for people. Well, because again, you were being Jesus' hands and feet.
Yeah, we wouldn't hesitate if we saw a child that was lost and confused. Oh my gosh, we would all rush to, okay, let's find your mommy. Let's do this, do that. We don't hesitate, but there's a whole segment of people that we turn a blind eye to because they're adults. Well, okay, some of them are just as confused as the 3-year-old that let go of mom's hand. And I think we need to remember that. And the other thing is the Bible is full of stories. And that was Jesus and his disciples, and going into the Old Testament. I mean, everybody, it's a story of one person helping another person. Yeah. That's all that is. That's all the Bible is full of that. And I mean, even the loaves and the fishes, there was one man who said, I'm going to feed this crowd. We go into all of that. That's all that is. It didn't, but it changed our world, and it changed how we believe and what we believe. And it's our foundation because the stories are shared, which is why I wrote what I wrote and I share what I share, because I believe that's what we should do. But I can't go and help every single person out there with everything, but I can help the ones that cross my path. Yeah. And I just think that's what we're supposed to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think that really is our challenge for the week, to open our eyes and be more aware, pay attention. How can you, in the grocery line, as Jennifer's talking about, or out in the parking lot, or wherever it is you are, we each are out doing whatever it is we do. And if you're still more homebound and you're not really getting out, then I encourage you to get out and do that, because the world is opening back up and it feels so good. I'm watching people. I'm enjoying watching people smile, actually see their face and smile and acknowledge each other.
Yeah.
So just those little things. I mean, sometimes just smiling at someone can make their day. But we've talked about that before, but even more now that
because we've had a year of not seeing that, and it's weird. It is very strange. And I would say if there is someone who is still more homebound and is watching this, there are things you can still do. You have a phone, you can send emails, you can send texts, whatever your communication style is. Reach out to those people. Reach out to some of the other people that you may know may be in your same situation. You can have a phone conversation and bring that human connection back into their world. And that's okay too. Again, I agree with Delinda. If you can get out, please start getting out. There's a lot to be said about being around people, and there's a lot that we missed. But there's things each one of us. You're right, Delinda. Each one of us has gifts, and we can all share.
Yeah, and we really can. Grace said, "This is such a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing." Karen says, "Kindness is contagious."
Yes.
So maybe she's suggesting a tagline for you.
Exactly. And again, and if you notice, none of the things I shared cost you any money. Not at all. Again, and I am the first person to say, I'll buy that cup of coffee for that police officer or do whatever. Those acts of kindness are also nice, but the ones I talk about, it's just a few moments of your time and just showing a little bit of kindness and compassion. It's all it costs you. And I'll give that away all day long.
You bet. And time is the most valuable commodity we have. I mean, sharing that 30 minutes of time, sharing, 5 minutes here or little things that happen. It can be 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or it can be a half an hour like you did, or visiting somebody in the hospital. That's something I've done a little bit of, but I haven't done a lot. And of course, we haven't been able to do that at all in this last year or so. But just think of the things, and sometimes, as you were talking, Jennifer, it reminded me of this. Sometimes what it is that you need, if you will give that to someone else, you are the one that will be blessed. It'll help you get out of that. So if you're struggling with something right now, put yourself on the sideline and do that same thing for somebody else. Because sometimes it's just easier to do it for someone else than for yourself. Maybe it's just hard to get out of that dark place, or if it's hard to get out, reach out. So let's just say, as an example, you haven't really gotten out. Call someone and ask them to go out with you. Just call and say, will you just meet me for coffee, or let's get together. I've missed you. So by reaching out to help that person, you're helping yourself. So then you can take your next journey.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Anyway, well, we are over time. Not a big surprise. So.
But thank you for letting me share my story, and I'm grateful that you read it. And like I said, it's something I share yearly, and it's just genuine and heartfelt for me. So
yeah, and true. When I read it yesterday, it's like I got very, very touched by it and teary-eyed, and it's like, okay, well, we need to get this out there a little bit more. So. Anyway, well, you guys, thank you so much for being here. And I know how valuable your time is. You're pulled all these different ways. And I so appreciate, Jennifer and I both really appreciate that you would spend your time with us, because you could be 100 other places and on many other Zoom calls or whatever. So thank you for choosing to share this time with us. And I do hope you've been blessed. I think it was a morning where we touched some hearts this morning. So thank you very much. Everybody, remember that life is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. Choose to let God use you and your gifts, and you will be blessed. All right. Bye now. Thank you. Have a good week.